hearing.
Our next guest is our Town Administrator, Chris Clark. He's going to speak to Article 62 to 65, which involves finance issues. So go right ahead, Chris.
Well, thank you very much for the opportunity. This kind of gets into a little bit of the nuts and bolts of how municipal government works with the different accounting laws. One thing, I did have an opportunity, I know Carol Capola was supposed to do this segment, but Carol unfortunately is not able to be here today. She did do Municipal Finance 101, which I believe is on the website.
It is.
And I thought it did a really outstanding job of kind of simplifying municipal finance. There's a lot of material that goes into municipal finance, and she does a nice job in breaking that down. And
That was a great program.
I believe that is on the website, right? Is that
It is, it's on YouTube, well, through Channel 18.
Yeah.
through Channel 18?
Yeah, and then
No,
also on the voter
that was-
information webpage.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we did. The Voter Information Committee did Municipal Finance 101 with Carol in cooperation with the library. Here, maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago, it was well attended, and you're right, she does have a talent for making those of us who can't even balance their own checkbook, makes it more comfortable that you know what's going on.
Absolutely. So I just wanted to put in a plug for that because I thought it was a nice job. In terms of a few things here, Article 62, the state law actually changed a couple years ago, and they required that we not only have all the revolving accounts, identify them and set funding limits, but we also create a bylaw and put it into the bylaws. So Article 62 does take and has a list of existing bylaws and has that updated, any changes that were made. We did have requests from the selectmen and I think from the finance committee to make sure that we had that be a little bit more accurate. We had over time, when you do a chart, sometimes things get truncated. So Carol did go in and make sure that those were. Just you will note that on Article 62, we do not have that pet burial ground, because what we do is, at least in the practice here, any new articles stand on their own for revolving accounts. If that gets approved, then next year it would be added to the list. So in terms of that, she also found, Carol, on Article 63 and 64 are really just cleanup articles. So these ones were articles that had been, or revolving accounts that had been established before, that she is rolling over into a more appropriate vehicle. So, and I believe both of those are related to the golf operations. In 65 is the one where I had referred to earlier, and with 65, and again, I don't know why the state law, before we had this when it was all in one article, so you could see what the purpose was and then has the spending limit. And now they're kind of making us separate them into two different pieces. But in this case, we have the listing of what the title of the revolving account is, and the only element on this is that the spending limit gets adjusted, so or set. And what does that mean in terms of the spending limit? The spending limit is also driven by how much money that they can bring in. So I think I used this example the other night at FinCom, that if we have a recreation program that's in a revolving account, and he's doing a program called volleyball, let's just say a volleyball program, and he gets a lot of people that sign up for it, then we take the cumulative effect of all those programs, and he cannot go over a certain amount. So he actually, he being Eric Beebe, our recreation director, has done a good job working with the commission to put together programs that are highly desirable. So that is one area where the spending limit is at 175,000. Just
That
to give
went
people
up.
a sense. That did go
Yeah,
up.
got it.
That's why I wanted to kind of highlight
Yeah.
that. So in terms of this article, Article 65, these are pre-existing revolving accounts that are already on the books, and really the purpose of it is to establish the spending limits, and over time you want to adjust those spending limits.
Got it.
And maybe, I know you didn't have it on your program, but I'll put a little plug in for the two. Just Article 66 is stabilization fund. The town does, when we have a year in which we have additional resources for free cash, it's at least been the practice to try to take some of the free cash and put it into a rainy day fund, if you would. So stabilization acts as that rainy day fund. We have $550,000 going into that, so we've had a mild winter, so some of the money that we had set aside for snow and ice has been put towards this, so you'll see in the book it says 400,
Yeah.
but it's actually 550.
Oh, nice.
So a mild winter is a good contributor to that. And on the OPEB trust fund, that is 550, so that has a number going in. And OPEB is other post-employment benefits. That is, if you would, health insurance costs for retirees. There is a liability. I think in the last 5 years, we've gone from about $300,000 to almost $3 million in there, which is great to have a good amount going in. The liability is $42 million, so we still have a ways to go before we bridge that gap of having that be fully funded.
And this also helps our Standard & Poor's rating, as I recall.
Absolutely. Standard & Poor's probably about, I don't know, 5 to 10 years ago said, you know, you need to be aware of this liability and you need to have a plan to address it. So most towns are aware of that liability now, and few towns have an actual plan to address it.
Great.
So we are one of those towns that have been working towards addressing that issue.
I think that's it.
That's all from you?
Well, actually, just so there's no confusion, I try to take this
Oh,
opportunity.
that's okay.
On the OPEB trust fund, we do have, we were very fortunate this year that the Cape Cod Municipal Health Group, which is a joint partnership, joint purchase association that we're a member of, the town of Harwich, we had funding that was going in that was being reimbursed for retirees, and that reimbursement amount over the 57 entities in the group was about $6 million. Because health insurance costs have been reasonable this year and last year, the group voted to send that money back. So out of that $6 million, Harwich has $520,000
Nice.
that we're getting. So we're going to put that, because that was originally for health insurance purposes, that will, in a different article here, be transferred into that account as well.
Right.
So a good year for us on two fronts in terms of OPEB. So I just wanted to put in a plug for
Nice.
that, because people will see the two numbers,
Yep,
and we know that there's two numbers, but they both do different things, but they both fund the same vehicle.
okay.
So no more 10% a year change in your health insurance, where it was for a few years? That was terrible.
I do
How do
serve
you
on that, I
feel,
do serve on
Peggy?
that
How do you
board.
really
We are
feel,
trying to
Peggy?
stabilize, but I can't predict the future, so hopefully we're in a good trend now.
That's great.
Dear.
Okay.
All right, thanks, Chris. And we will now do a little wrap-up. First off, we'd like to thank all the folks who came this morning to tell us about the articles. Town meeting is May 6th. The warrant was in the Chronicle this week. There are also copies downstairs of it. And of course, the town report is out as well, so you can find out what went on last year. And, let's see, if you are not a registered voter by now, you cannot take part in either town meeting or the election. And Chris will tell you about a few things that the voter information still has coming up before elections.
So, again, this year, because we have contested elections, we have 3 candidates for the 2 vacancies on the Board of Selectmen, and we have 2 candidates for the 1-year term on the school committee. The League of Women Voters has agreed to moderate candidates forum. We're going to do that on May 14th at 6:30. We'll kick off with the 3 candidates for the Board of Selectmen, and that'll run till about 10 of 8, at which time then we'll go into a similar forum, but shorter, for the 2 candidates running for the Board of Selectmen. I hope, excuse me, I hope many of you come. Last year, we had a standing room only in this room, and it's participatory by the audience, so we look forward to questions being, brought forth by the attendees. Hope you're there. It was a great one last year. I think our voters got to know the three candidates then, and of course, they go to town election on May 21st and cast their vote. So I hope you're there. Thank you.
And thank you, Caleb, as usual.
Yeah. Okay, not too bad.